All right, well, we're back on the Pro Touring Camaro project, and the first video I made just kind of walked around and showed you the current status, and I'm going to try to do a little bit better job of digging into some details. Maybe we'll do an engine or a video on the engine. Maybe we'll do some other videos, who knows. But right now, I'm working on prepping the firewall. At the end of the last video, I had just removed the front subframe. We just rolled it out, still sitting there. But I've since taken off the heating and air conditioning unit that sits on this side of the firewall just to kind of see what we're working with. And I do have a delete plate, which I'll show later in the video, but you can see that that hole doesn't look like you probably think it should. And as I start digging into this particular corner of the car, I'm starting to find things that I'm not happy about. So that'll just result in a little bit more work on my part. So if you look right here, see there's a hole right here where the blower fan goes, and that looks fine. But if you look over here, you can see the factory edge where there's a lip, and it goes around and down, and there's a lip all here. But there's no lip here, and it looks like it's been gnawed on by a chipmunk or something like that. So what I think has happened is somebody tried to put an AC unit in the car that wasn't original to the car, and it didn't quite line up, and in fact it didn't fit with all the ducts on the inside, so I kind of knew it was wrong. But I guess instead of thinking better of it, they decided to go ahead and hack up the firewall so that the tubes coming in from the heater core would fit. So this is a little bit more work than I anticipated. So what we're going to have to do is come in and cut some pieces of metal to fit right in here, and cut a piece of metal to fit right in here, and we'll basically clean this up. We'll weld it in with a TIG welder. And then I've got a plate that's going to go over this and also over this. And in order for that plate to sit flat, I'm probably going to come in here and try to flatten all these edge welds. These little these rolls, not welds, they're just rolls in the firewall here and also here. And then we'll probably put that plate on with one of my favorite tools, which is a riv nut tool, which is absolutely awesome, highly recommended. So I'll show that later. So the other thing that we found here, just move over here, is the car is remarkably solid from being in Boston its entire life, but as I start to dig in, I found a few places that I'm concerned with. Right down here on the cheek, kind of, you start to get here, and there should be this edge all the way down, but it disappears, and it disappears because there's a ton of Bondo, and you can see as I'm hitting it, the rust is starting to fall out. So I'm gonna guess what I'm gonna find when I dig into this here is a ton of Bondo, and this is a problem here as well. And then also you can look at the front of the rocker panel, and I've actually seen some bubbling, and I kind of picked at it a little bit and it's come through. So the question is, do I do the right thing and cut this out and replace it with a patch panel and for now, or do I just clean it, do rust converter, and then come back 10 years from now and do the full resto? But I think what we're gonna do is just clean it up, maybe make a patch panel here. We'll see what we're dealing with when we strip this all down. Maybe we get away with just some rust converter on this. I don't know how this looks yet. And then we'll do that. The other part that I found interesting was somebody has cut and bent this pinch weld over. This body line comes down here, and then they cut it off right here, and then it picks it up back here, and it's for whatever reason they cut this off, and then this pinch weld used to sit up straight like on the other side over there, but on this side they just beat it over with a hammer, and it looks like they tried to hack on it with a hacksaw, and like there was a failed attempt at cutting it. So I don't know what the hell they were doing. They didn't know what was going on apparently, so they've jacked all this up. So I'm probably gonna have to take this down and try to clean the rust up as much as I can. Again, probably not going to replace the whole firewall at this point. Just going to try to clean it up, do some rust encapsulator, and then maybe I'll do some little TIG welding here just to kind of make sure that this piece is still intact, and then we'll make it passable. So that's the plan. All right, just a quick video. I've got the hoses and wires pulled off there, brake booster, master cylinders all removed, the washer, motor, gearbox has all been removed, and you can start to see that there have been a lot of holes punched in the firewall over time to mount various things, kind of like down here, up here, all around here. So I think since I'm going to go ahead and strip this anyways, I'm going to end up kind of trying to beat some of these flat, weld some closed, and try to make it look a little nicer, at least while we're in here. Also, I realized that the master cylinder that was provided with the kit from American Powertrain isn't going to really fit this hole. It's got a sandwich plate set up, so what I'm going to have to do is actually either probably going to end up having to put a plate and weld a plate over this hole so that that can have a place to bite into. And I don't even know yet what I'm going to do for my master cylinder for my brakes yet. So I've got to figure all that out. So it sounds like there's going to be a little bit more major surgery than I had anticipated on the firewall, but we'll at least check back in after I've stripped it down and maybe done some patch panels. Well, my granddaddy always said, never pull a root because you're never going to win. And I think what I have here is a metaphorical equivalent of pulling a root. The original plan with this firewall was just to remove the AC and put a cover plate over it. Then I went, oh look, that hole has been mangled. Let's strip the firewall, patch those little holes right there, and repaint it with some nice rust preventative paint, which led to uncovering the inevitable rust and rot that was hidden under layers of Bondo that I did not expect. So what we have here is the bottom right cheek, I believe, whatever they call this, is rotted clean through both sides. And so what's happening is down in this hole, dirt and debris and crap had gotten down in there and it was getting wet. And it was sitting in there, and it was rotting out from the inside, so now I'm left with quite the mess to clean up. So, plan C. I need to do some research into trying to figure out if I can order some replacement panels, because I really don't want to try to cut and remake that. I don't have all the body work equipment necessary to do that. And then it looks like down here, I'm probably going to have to go in and cut that out. Try to patch in a piece of the rocker, the inner rocker panel, which is right there, because that's bubbled, and I tapped that, as I said before, had it kind of broken out. So I think I'm into this more than I expected. Oh well.